this is Dawn Clevisall. I am your Profit First Implementation Strategist. So this morning, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who has been participating and commenting and letting me know what it is that you need me to talk about. And one of the things that I have been hearing from a lot of people is that maybe they're overseas, maybe they're somewhere where they can't get their bank accounts open, especially with COVID-19. Some of the banks are not having you come into the lobby. I've heard people saying that they can talk to a banker over the phone and then go in and sign at the, what are those called? Where you pull up and then they drop the little tube thing down, that they're allowing people to sign documents there. So that is an option for you if you haven't checked with your bank, but you know their lobby's closed. They are working with people to get accounts open because as you probably know, if you're in my group, having different bank accounts is one of the pillars of using Profit First. So what do you do if that's not possible? What are you supposed to do in this case with COVID-19 and your Profit First bank accounts? And I want to tell you, I don't want you to wait to get started. I don't want you to let that obstacle be a block to keeping you from moving forward with your business. So that's why I created this presentation for today. I want this live training to be something that helps guide you a little bit if that's where your stumbling block is. Because the sooner you get started with Profit First, the sooner you will be building a business that is profitable, sustainable, that gives your family relief instead of so much stress because you're throwing all your money into it. So that is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So let's take a look here. So this first slide that I wanted to show you, just a little bit of the basics of Profit First for anyone who might not be familiar with it. So the Profit First formula is a little bit different than the accounting formula that you are used to using when you prepare your books, the information that your accountant's wanting at the end of the year to do your taxes. The Profit First formula takes the accounting formula, which is your typical accounting formula that you see. This is actually the way that your income statement is laid out. That's also known as a profit and loss statement. So take your sales, subtract all your expenses, and then what's left is your profit. But if you're like many business owners, at the end of the year, the tax accountant says, congratulations, you made X amount of dollars. Here's your huge tax bill. Well, not only are you stunned by this tax bill, but you're also wondering, hold on, where's all this money I made? Well, with your traditional formula that works really well for doing your taxes, it does not work really well for you running a profitable business that you're going to love, that's going to love you back. So in Profit First, we do the second equation. I think you guys can see my cursor here, hopefully. Maybe if I do it over here, I think you can. Yeah, all right. So over here, this is the traditional run, right, that I just mentioned. So sales minus expenses equals profit. But in Profit First, we're just going to switch these two things. And while the equation, the money that's in the equation is doing the same thing, right? It's the numbers themselves aren't changing. The way that our behavior as entrepreneurs is affected is it drastically changes the way we run our business. Because now, instead of feeling like, I got to get sales, oh no, all these expenses are coming because I'm having all of these sales and now I have to buy this, that, the other thing, hire people, and then you're not having any money left. This is kind of takes that stress, that burden out of the equation, because now you've got sales minus your profit, and there's a few things that go into that we'll cover in a few slides, and then you're going to run your business on what's left. So these expenses here is what's left over, instead of in traditional accounting, the profit's what's left over and you never see any of it because you're too busy running your business and who knows where all that money went, right? So we're going to make ourselves run our business off of the expenses that are left over. Like I said, it's such a simple idea, but it's not how we were taught. So we really have to kind of go against our mindset of, buy, sell, and really take a step back so that we can push those expenses off. So here's why that works. So Parkinson's law is that the demand for a resource increases to meet the supply of it. This is why if you have a bank account full of money, you will spend all the money that is in your bank account. You will look over there and go, oh, we have money. Let's promote, let's do all these things, but it may not be money that is yours to spend in the business. Another primary example of this is if you're given 2 weeks to complete a project, you're going to take 2 weeks to complete this project. If you're given 2 nights to complete the project, you're completing it in 2 nights. So the amount of time that we're given, we will use. So we will stretch that out, whether it's waiting to the last minute to do it, or maybe we're doing little bits and pieces of it, as we go along. But that is not something that's going to sustain your business. But you have to keep that in mind, that is going on. That is one of the things that's happening in your mind. If you're using one bank account and all that money is going in there, your brain's not going to differentiate between, oh, I need to save some of that for this, that, and the other thing. You need a system that does that. And that's where Parkinson's law comes in. So most business owners, maybe yourself included, do what's called bank balance accounting. And that is looking at our accounts. So the slide here, you can read complicated accounting statements to see how much money you have, which it will tell you. It will tell you what you've brought in, what your expenses are, and what your profit is, what money you can pay yourself. However, that's assuming your books are up to date. It's assuming you understand how to read the statements. So what do most business owners do? We just look at our bank balance and go, oh, that's how much money I have. Now, sometimes, that doesn't even consider maybe you've put something on a credit card for $1,000, but maybe they don't charge that to the card until it ships. So you forget. And by credit card, I mean your debit card. And then you forget and you think, oh, there's $1,000 in there. I could, take a draw, or I need to do something. Meanwhile, now your account's balance is negative, and we know how brutal they can be with your fees and things like that. So we don't want that to happen to you. So bank balance accounting is not something we want to change with Profit First. We want to work with it because we know that's what you're going to do. You're going to look at your balance because it's what we all do. So if you're here right now, I just wanted to say, can you just drop a money symbol in there if you are somebody who does bank balance accounting? And if you're watching on the replay, do that too, because I can respond back to you on the replay as well. And I'd love to get your input and see where you're at and what you guys are thinking about bank balance accounting versus looking at those accounting statements. So with Parkinson's law, as we just mentioned, if you look at your bank balance, you're going to spend all that money. You're going to see that money as all of the resource to spend in your business, but you're leaving yourself out of the equation. So with Profit First, we will pay expenses last. Another core principle of Profit First is large plates and small plates, to use those to run your business. So currently, if you're not running Profit First, you have one bank account where all your money goes in, all your money comes out. That is what we call your large plate. So imagine a platter of turkey. You've got the turkey out of the oven, you put it on the platter, you've cut it nicely, it's beautifully laid out, you set it on the table, and everyone just digs in with their forks and knives and grabs all the food off of there. That's not how we do things, and that's not how you should be running your business finances either. So in Profit First, you're going to take that income that comes in off that large plate, and you're going to serve it to your guests. You're going to serve it to your profit guests, your owner's pay guests, your taxes guests, and then the last person that gets served is your operating expenses. So what can you do if you can't open your bank accounts? If you're in that situation where you can't leave the house, maybe you're under lockdown and you just can't even go out. So what do? There's a way that I want to talk to you about today that you can get those accounts set up. You can do this for yourself in your business. So that's my last slide. I'm going to jump over here. So I know that a few of you are familiar with this program. It's called Ynab. You Need a Budget is what it stands for. And you can just go to ynab.com and this will come up. The nice thing about Ynab, well, it's very easy to use budgeting software. And if you know anything about me, budgets make me cringe. I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with the idea of pretending that you have all this money and then saying what you're going to do with it. And I don't know, it just makes me completely uncomfortable because it never matches reality. But with Ynab, you're budgeting in real time with the money that you've actually had come into your bank account. It's more intuitive to me and it's more real time. So when you have money come in, you can go into their software and say, okay, well, I have this bill coming up. Let's apply it to that. Let's apply it to that. Let's apply it to that. And you tell this software where you've put your money. The nice thing is if you have anything left over, you can actually start paying your in advance to the next months and things. But I don't want to get into too much complicated ideas. If you haven't used our software yet, there are YouTube videos out there that teach you how to run through it, which are very helpful. But I wanted to talk to you about how do we manage our bank account? Say we only have that large plate. You only have your large plate of turkey. How are you going to feed all of your guests and not have everyone just digging into this thing? So with this software, you can set up in your budget, like I've done here. I've set up a profit account, an owner's pay account, the taxes account, and the operating expense account. When you originally sign up, they will import some information for you. So all I did, very simply, I went in and I changed the name that they gave me by double clicking here. I just changed this from, maybe it was operating expense. I think it was, I don't remember. It comes with different categories. So I just changed it to the ones that I know that we need to track if we're tracking profit first. And then as an example, you want to put your percentage here after the name of the account, and then you want to put the target allocation percentage. So if you're, this is assuming that you know a few of the phrases and things of profit first, but your target allocation percentage is from a chart in Mike's book that tells you for your industry, if you're making in this range of money, these are the percentages you should be paying out to those different accounts. Now, I want to caution you because I see people make this mistake all the time. This is not your percentage. This is not the percentage that belongs to you. Your percentage is going to be customized to your particular business based on your history of how you've handled cash in the past, with the goal of reaching these percentages. So please keep that in mind. I know it's so easy just to open up the book and plug those numbers in, but it makes it very frustrating for you when you don't have enough money in operating expenses, when you're pulling too much money into different categories because it's so drastically different from what your current habits are. So want to make sure that you know that we're just going to go very slowly. If I am working with you on profit first, we start out just with 1% change in certain categories. So keep that in mind. Here, I just use 30% because this is a sample account just to make it easier for you. So again, you can just double click and you can change that. You just say, okay, I want that to be that way. If there are any that you don't want there, you can just say delete and it will delete it, which is great. You might be wondering, why don't I have an income account here? Because with Profit First, right, we have 5 accounts. Well, the income account is your bank account in this instance. So you've got your bank account balance over here. I want to point, but you guys can't see my fingers. So over here, you've got your bank account. That's where the money's coming in. And then we've set up in the budget these accounts that are equal to having opened the bank account at the bank. As I go through this, again, I want to caution you that if you're not someone who's disciplined, this is for people who have discipline or have no option right now, because you still will be able to look at your bank account and see in this instance that there's $1,000 in there. But it's not your $1,000, right? It doesn't belong to you. And it belongs to the categories that you're categorizing them in. So what happens is I went ahead and I just did a manual setup, but you can go in, you add your account, you can add one that's linked. This will pull all your bank data for you, or you could add one that's unlinked, and that's what I've done here. So if you just want to have a little more control, you can do unlinked. If you're going to want to add every single thing that's happening, you do it the other way. So in this instance, it knows I told it I had a starting balance of $1,000. So it categorizes it into this category called to be budgeted. This tells the program that you're going to go into your budget, which is where these lines are, and move that money over. So what happens if you have $1,000 come in, but really, I'm going to kind of estimate, if you say oh, I had $1,000, but really it was $1,053 because the bank took extra money. What do we do about that? So what you would want to do is you want to come in here. I haven't broken it out myself yet. So hold on, let's do this. Split. So you can split this into different categories. We're going to say, okay, we had 1,053 was how much our clients paid us. They didn't pay us $1,000, but Stripe took money. Then you're going to go down here to category, and I added, and I'll show you this in a little more detail on the budget page, but I added under operating expense, I added a merchant account fees so that I could show you what this looks like in your budget. And then we're going to say that $53 came out. And these numbers aren't going to necessarily make sense. I'm just using it. Hold on, can't see the thing with my camera. Okay, so save that. So then you just click save. Make sure that it adds up. Let's see, does it add up? It says 1,000. Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh, I have to assign a minus sign. Okay. Let's check that. Oh, you know what it is? I didn't tell it. Okay, so down here, I guess is where you need to tell it that you have the budget. I'm going to make this a little smaller so I can see for a second. Oops, sorry, I got all this stuff going on in the background. Okay, now I can see where I'm over here. All right, so then you are going to say that you had 1053. And I don't know what I'm doing evidently. Minus. I wonder if you do it in the same line. All right, evidently I don't know how to add a split. Why is it? Oh, it needs to be positive, I think, because I put it there. Hold on, give me a second. We need to assign. Okay. Oh, because this is supposed to be $1,000 maybe? Oh no, I'll play around with it. Move this, figure it out together in a second. Okay, so that's right. So what I want you to do is, you want you to keep that 1,000 the same that it was when it came in from the bank. So leave that starting line the same. You want to make sure you add the to be budgeted. You want that to be budgeted to be the 1053, and I'll show you why in a second, because you want to make sure that you're always recording the actual amount that you made, even though we have these merchant account fees come out. We still want to account for the original amount of money we made when we're doing our allocation. And then the $1,000. So, all right. Well, now if you guys run into any trouble, you know what to do. So just click save, and then we'll go over to our budget. So now you'll see when we come over to our budget, in the merchant account fees, it says negative $53. And that is because we've told that we spent that money, but we haven't actually budgeted this money out yet. Hope that makes sense to you guys. If it doesn't, post your questions. I will get back to you on that. So we're going to break this money out. I think I'll use, hold on, I'm just opening up a calculator. So really, it can be pretty straightforward. You want to just do your 1053 times 5%. And then you're going to move 5265. This is the same way that you would do it if you were moving the money in the bank account, which you're going to move. If you have those accounts open, you would be doing that move. But here, since we can't actually move the money, we are going to just tell it that we want to move the money over. And then I added some extra accounts here. So there's a profit hold business, there's a profit hold owner, depending how you're tracking things. Get that off screen. You could just divide that by 2 now and then put that in. So budgeted activity. So we're going to do this. We're going to come up to this green amount. We're going to click on it. We're going to tell it that we're moving 26. We're going to do the 33 to profit hold business. That's the business's portion of the profit hold account. $26.32. We're going to do $26.32 here. I got to add it up. to the owner's portion. And you'll see it's moved it in here and it's green because that means it's positive instead of this one here is waiting for you to pay that money out. And you'll notice that with these transactions that we've done here, this amount is still $1,000. That hasn't changed because we're still working over on this side here. And I'm going to just check my math here. It was 1053. And I want to make sure, you want to make sure that you're using that 1053 every time. Even though our balance is going down here of what we have to spread out, we're still using that 1053 in this case as the number that we're pulling those percentages from. So I just want to do, because I had to round up that 1 penny, I just want to make sure I didn't get the wrong number. Times 5% equals. Okay, so this number matches this number, and that's great. So the same thing, 1053 times 50%. I cannot see this thing here. Equals. Okay, so this is how much we're going to move over to the owner's pay. So you just click up here. You want to write the amount, $26.50, and you're going to put that into owner's pay. If you have more than one owner, you can add subcategories. And you can have all of the owners listed under there when you do this allocation. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to use the 1053 times 15%. And then we're going to take that amount. We're going to tell the budget thing, $157.95. This is going to our taxes account. And I added payroll taxes here because some of you do have payroll tax expense that you're paying on behalf of the owner. This is not the payroll taxes that you're paying for the employees. But if you're paying the owner's payroll taxes, you want to keep accounting for them a little bit separately. So this tax here that I'm talking about is just for the regular tax account. And so that's going to be added there. And then this one, the last one is 1053 times 30%. Which we already know because we're at the very last one, is the same amount. But I like to do the calculation because I like to be on top, keep on top of things. I actually have an Excel sheet that I give out to my clients to use to help them with these calculations just to make it easier for you. But I always like to double and triple check. So it's good we have the same amount. Now you tell this, okay, the rest of that needs to go into the operating expense account. Now, I did put some categories under here that I just wanted to speak to you about for a minute. So now look, for a second, you have, this is budgeted, you have $1,000 here, and you have everything that was in there laid out. Again, this is something that you can do. It gives you an opportunity. You can look just at a glance. Let me shrink this for you. At a glance, you can look and you know that you have this much money in your in your profit account. You know you have this much money in the owner's pay, this much in the taxes, and this much in your operating expenses. Really easy, right? Just keep in mind, if you're going to look at the bank account balance, the bank account balance is not going to match this breakdown. You're not going to have any sort of breakdown like this. Oh, and you know what, the one thing I need to do. So I need to move $53 here. So let's do this. Let's see if I can change this. I can. Okay, so I'm going to say minus 53. And that way I keep my original calculation, and then it goes back up here. I have $53 that I need to spend, and that, remember that we already took that merchant account fees out. So then we can just tell this here, okay, we want you to move that to the merchant account fees, and then zero. It zeroes it out. So you can see how that this is a really simple tool that you can use with Profit First. If you only have that one bank account and you're needing to manage it, just make sure that you're on top of it. I don't want you to run into any trouble where you mismanaged your money or forgot something. You might be wondering, how do I pay myself out of a system like this? It's going to be the same way that we just did the breakdown of, we added the $53 for the fees, and then we did the breakdown. So you're going to come over here to the budget. Remember, your income account is going to be over here all by itself. You're going to come in and you can just say add transaction. And then instead of a to be budgeted, you're going to go ahead and you can actually just record it directly to your owner's pay account. And what that'll do is it'll deduct it. So say we went ahead and it was our quarterly payment. We wanted to pay ourselves because we'd been doing awesome. We're working so hard in our business, and now it's time for us to pay this. We will just do owner, and then this one's going to be out. How much did we say? It was 26. Hold on. 26.32. Okay. So then we've got that. Let's go look at what that looks like, because I haven't done this yet. I have been wanting to implement Ynab in with one of my clients for a little while, but we haven't gotten there yet. We're just building out her profit right now and her profit reports. And so I hadn't done this yet. So I'm really curious. Let's take a look. I need to play around a little bit with how to do it. So the activity and 0. So that's right. Yeah, that's right. So what you do over here in the income, as far as doing your expenses and pulling money out to pay yourself, it's going to show up in this activity column. And then if you look here, you see, okay, now we have 0 available to go to the owner because we've already paid that out. But what we're doing, it also is kind of cool because it allows us to do that profit hold. And you can still see that the money that the company has made, that the company is building up its profits. And you'll hear me mention this time and again. When this gets to be about 3 to 6 months of your current budget for what you need to run your business, your operating expense account, we'll actually open another account when you can do that, or you could transfer it, I guess, the way we just set it up in here, that will hold that money. And it's called the vault. It means don't touch it. You're not allowed to do anything with that money. So there's your quick overview. So you can use this program to manage your money and profit first when you don't have any other options and you can't open bank accounts, and it's just going to be something that's too hard for you to do. I wanted to invite you. I have a boot camp coming up on July 6th, and I will be talking about how you're going to get these numbers here. So this number that I talked about earlier, right? That's your day 1 percentage. That's where we're going to start out, right? So what we do is we take your history, evaluate your history. We come up with the day 1 percentage so that you know what you're doing with your business. You can profit from day 1. We move forward, and that is what our boot camp is going to be. So keep looking at the page. If you want me to include you in the email, letting you know when the boot camp is and when it's up and running, you can go ahead and drop me a note to private messaging. Just drop it in here, and I will send you a private message so that you get that information. It will be posted in the group also, but anyone who signs up, pre-registers for the event, you'll start getting content and things to help you get ready to pull your information together so that we can get you up and running. I know it's something that many of you have been struggling with, and my biggest thing with the business is I don't want you struggling. If it is something that like this, that's technology wise, it's just not your forte, that it's hard to learn something new, I want to break it out and make it easier for you. And that is why I'm doing the boot camp. I want those of you who've been struggling to put your allocations percentages together. You don't really understand that section of the book. It's really wordy and it's full of information, which is great, but maybe not great if you're trying to implement profit first right away. That is what the boot camp will be. Again, that is July 6th that will start. Keep an eye in the group and send me a PM down below here and a message here and let me know that you want me to PM you, and I will let you know when that is going to be up and running. So thank you for joining me today. If you're watching the replay, you just put #replay so I know, and I will answer any questions that might have come up for you along the way. So have a wonderful day. Thanks.